Hey, everybody, and welcome to our deep dive. We are going to take a deep dive into the essential films of Sophia Loren.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah, this one I think will be a lot of fun.
I know. I'm really looking forward to this one.
We had a request from a listener to do an episode on Sophia Loren.
Right.
And I thought, okay, well, there's a lot of different ways we can go about this.
Yeah.
But
How do we narrow it down?
yeah, and I thought, well,
Filmography as long as hers.
right. And so I thought, well, let's start with this British Film Institute article
Oh, yeah. Great idea.
that lists their top 10 picks for her essential films.
The BFI list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that way we can kind of use that as a framework.
Yeah.
And then,
Talk about the why behind it.
right, what makes them essential.
Yeah.
And maybe offer a shortcut to appreciating her career for our listener.
I love it.
Yeah. So,
So let's get started.
yeah. So, I mean, I think one of the things.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
What comes to mind when you think Sophia Loren?
I mean, immediately, that
Mhm.
striking beauty, like those eyes and that.
The hair,
Yeah.
the lips,
Yeah.
like that
Right.
classic beauty that you can't not
Absolutely.
think of that.
Yeah. And
But she was so much more than a pretty face, right?
right. And I think that's one of the things that we'll uncover as
Right.
we go through these films.
We're going to go beyond that.
Right. That
Yeah.
there's so much more to her. And that's what makes her even more,
Yeah.
I think,
Fascinating.
interesting.
Exactly.
A great beauty, but also just a fantastic actress.
And that's what I find really interesting
Yeah.
is that, some people are just like,
Known for that one thing.
right, or they get typecast.
Yeah. And
And
she was
yeah.
not, she really was able to do it all.
Right. And I think that's what's really going to stand out as we talk about these films
Yeah.
is that range.
And range.
Yeah. And
Longevity.
yeah,
So,
she had it all.
yeah. And there's this great quote from historian Stephen Gundel,
I love Stephen Gunn.
who says that she's an actress of rare spontaneity and that she excelled in drama, comedy, and farce,
Yeah.
which I thought was really
Amazing.
interesting. Yeah. And that kind of sets the stage for what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
So her career really kind of takes off in the 1950s.
It really does.
And
It explodes in the 1950s.
she was in something like 10 films in 1954 alone.
I know, it's crazy.
Can you imagine?
It's like a film a month almost.
Yeah. And so, one of the things that stands out is that early on, she worked with Vittorio De Sica,
Yeah.
who is just a legend of Italian cinema.
The king of neorealism.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And so he directs this film called The Gold of Naples,
Oh, yeah. Great film.
which the BFI lists as one of their picks.
Of course.
And it's interesting because
Of course.
De Sica was known for working with non-professional actors
Right.
a lot of times. And so for him to choose Sophia Loren for this film,
There must have been something there.
there was something there that he saw in her.
Yeah. And I think this film was a real turning point
Yeah,
for her career.
exactly. And the BFI article calls out a specific episode in The Gold of Naples called Pizza on Credit,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
which they say really showcases her talent.
It's a great episode.
So what is it about this episode that really stands out?
Well, for one thing, you said De Sica was known for, neorealism.
Right.
So he liked to, get that rawness,
Right.
the reality.
Yeah.
And so, a lot of times his scripts were loose.
Oh,
And he'd let the actors kind of improvise and
Uh-huh.
play off of each other.
okay.
And so this episode was a real chance for Loren to kind of shine.
Oh, wow.
She plays this.
So he really gave her the freedom.
Yeah, he did. He
That's
gave her the
debate.
freedom to kind of play with the role.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And she plays this pizzaiolo, this woman who makes pizzas.
Oh, wow.
And she gets accused of stealing a ring.
Oh, no.
And it's just so full of life and energy.
And you can really see her charisma
That's cool.
and her comedic timing.
yeah. So it's he helped her discover maybe something about herself.
I think he did.
Yeah.
I think he really helped her blossom.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah, and this working with De Sica, I think really instilled a confidence in Loren
Okay.
that would kind of carry her through the rest of her career.
Oh, wow.
And she would later go on to do some of her most powerful performances in films that dealt with, similar themes.
Oh, wow. So he kind of unlocked something.
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
And it's not a coincidence that, that same year that she made The Gold of Naples,
Mm.
she also starred in Too Bad. She's bad with Marcello Mastroianni,
Oh, yes.
our dynamic duo.
The beginnings of a great partnership.
The very beginning.
Yeah, and 1954, what a year for Sophia Loren, right?
I know, right? Working with both De Sica and Mastroianni.
Yeah, so tell me about this first pairing.
Oh, it's a delight.
Yeah.
It's a comedy directed by Alessandro Blasetti.
Okay.
And Lauren plays the daughter of a small-time thief, played by
Get out.
Vittorio De Sica.
Oh, wow.
So they're reunited again.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
And Mastroianni is their unfortunate target.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and their chemistry is undeniable.
I bet.
Right from the start.
Yeah.
Like, you just know these two are going to be magic together.
Yeah, and they went on to become, Italian cinema's golden couple.
They did. They made 12 films together.
Wow.
Over 4 decades.
That's incredible.
Think about that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
A partnership that spans 40 years.
Yeah.
From 1954 all the way to 1994.
Wow.
When they starred together in Robert Altman's Pret a Porter.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So we've got this great partnership now forming.
Mm-hmm.
Budding. But before we get into all of that,
yeah.
let's rewind back to the mid-50s.
Okay.
She starred in The River Girl in 1954 as well.
Another great one.
And this one is interesting because the BFI article mentions that this was kind of like...
This was meant to be her breakout role.
Yeah, like a vehicle for her.
Yeah.
So what was it about this film that made it so special?
Well, first of all, it was co-written by Pier Paolo Pasolini.
Oh, wow.
And Giorgio Bassani.
Okay.
2 giants of Italian literature.
I mean, so that alone brings a lot of...
Yeah, it brings a certain prestige to the project.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and it was her first substantial leading role.
It was.
Right.
She had, she was in smaller roles before, but this was her first real chance to take center stage.
Okay.
Yeah. And the producers, they really wanted to, create a vehicle for her.
Yeah.
Much like Bitter Rice had done for Silvana Mangano a few years earlier.
Oh, wow.
They both shot in the same location.
Okay.
The Po Delta region of Italy.
Wow.
And they both deal with these independent women facing these harsh realities.
Wow.
Yeah. So, it's very interesting.
Yeah, so it sounds like they had a clear vision.
Oh, yeah.
For this film.
I think they did.
And for her.
Yeah.
So did it pay off?
It did. It definitely did. It solidified her as a serious actress.
Okay.
And then soon after, she made her Hollywood debut in The Black Orchid in 1958.
Wow, so this is really her stepping stone.
Yeah, it was. It was a big stepping stone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she even won the Coppa Volpi Award for Best Actress.
Oh, wow.
At the Venice Film Festival for The Black Orchid.
Wow. So in just a few short years,
I know.
She goes from, just starting out to a global sensation.
I know. It's incredible.
That's wild.
Yeah.
But there's a particular role that cements her place in film history.
Mm-hmm.
Should we talk about it now, or should we save it for the next part of our deep dive?
Ooh, a cliffhanger.
Yeah, let's save it.
Okay, I love it. All right, so are you ready to talk about the role that made Sophia Loren a legend?
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so after her time in Hollywood, she came back to Italy in 1960 for Two Women.
Oh, yeah, I remember you mentioning this one.
It was a powerful film.
It is, and I was reading that this one was particularly meaningful to Loren. Almost like it hit close to home.
Absolutely.
Why is that?
Well, it's set during World War II.
Okay.
And it's based on a novel by Alberto Moravia.
Okay.
And Loren plays Cesira, a mother who is desperately trying to protect her daughter, Rosetta, from the horrors of war as they flee Rome.
Oh, wow.
And, the story's depiction of maternal love and sacrifice really resonated with Loren.
Yeah, I bet, especially with her Italian heritage.
Right, and you can just feel that emotional connection in every scene.
Yeah, I mean, I think about, the war in Ukraine now, and, those mothers having to flee.
Absolutely.
Or the children.
It's a timeless story, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, and her performance in the film is just breathtaking.
It is. I mean, it earned her the Academy Award for Best Actress.
In 1961.
That's right, and that was a historic win.
She became the first woman ever to win an Oscar.
Wow.
For a performance in a foreign language film.
Wow, what a moment for her.
It was a huge moment.
Yeah, and for Italian cinema, I imagine.
Absolutely. It really cemented her status, not just as, a global star, but also as a dramatic force.
Yeah, she can do it all.
She can do it all.
From those glamorous Hollywood roles to,
the gritty realism.
Exactly. Yeah.
Of Two Women.
So speaking of range, let's jump ahead a couple of years to 1963. And Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow.
Oh, yes.
It's almost like the polar opposite of Two Women.
It is a complete 180.
Yeah.
This is a lighthearted anthology film
Okay.
with 3 distinct episodes,
Okay.
each set in a different Italian city.
Okay.
Naples, Milan, and Rome.
Awesome.
And our golden duo,
Yes.
Loren and Mastroianni, star in all 3,
Of course they
playing different characters
It's amazing.
in each episode.
Wow, so they get to really show off their range in this.
We do.
Yeah,
It's a real showcase of their comedic timing
Yeah.
and their chemistry.
And there's that famous scene in the Rome episode.
Oh, you mean the striptease?
Yes.
Oh, it's iconic.
So good.
Lauren plays Mara, a high-class call girl.
Oh.
And Mastroianni is, shall we say, an enthusiastic client.
Sounds about right.
It's playful, it's seductive,
Yeah.
and both actors just really nail the comedic beats.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, it's really fun to watch.
So we've got wartime drama with Two Women,
Right.
then lighthearted comedy with Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 1964, she starred in Marriage Italian Style.
Oh, another classic.
Where does this one fall on the spectrum?
Somewhere in between, I'd say. It's
Okay.
based on a play by Edoardo Di Filippo,
Okay.
another, titan of Italian theater.
Okay.
And Lauren plays Filomena,
Okay.
a former prostitute
Okay.
who uses some clever maneuvering to marry Domenico, a wealthy businessman who's been her lover for years.
Okay. Wow. So she's kind of taking control of her destiny.
She's a strong woman.
I love it.
Yeah. And Loren felt a really strong personal connection to this character.
Yeah, I was reading about that.
Yeah, she described Filomena as a woman who embodied happiness and sadness, courage and despair, ugliness and beauty.
Wow. So this real complex character.
Yeah, it's real complexity.
Yeah.
And it's that struggle for love and security
Right.
in a society that often marginalized women, like Filomena,
Yeah, absolutely.
that really drew Loren to the role.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
So it's like she's not afraid to take on these roles that are,
Challenging.
yeah, and kind of, portray these, real life struggles that women face.
Exactly.
We see that a lot in her later films as well.
We do.
Like A Special Day from 1977.
Oh, A Special Day. Such a beautiful film.
It is.
This one takes us back to Rome in 1938
Okay.
during Hitler's visit to Italy.
Wow. So a very specific moment in time.
Yeah, and it might seem like a grand, sweeping backdrop.
Yeah.
But the film really focuses on this intimate connection between Antonietta,
Okay.
a housewife who's trapped in a loveless marriage,
Okay.
and Gabriele, a radio announcer who's lost his job because of his homosexuality.
Oh, wow. So these two kind of outcast characters?
Exactly. They're both kind of living on the fringes of society.
And it's interesting how the film kind of juxtaposes those monumental events
Right.
with these, personal struggles.
Yeah, these quiet personal struggles.
Yeah.
Yeah, and visually, it's stunning.
It is. I remember reading that it's shot in sepia tones.
It is. It has this really nostalgic,
Yeah.
almost dreamlike quality.
Yeah. I love that. And of course, you can't go wrong with Mastroianni and Loren.
Oh, they're fantastic.
Together again,
Yeah.
bringing that nuance and depth to their characters.
Always.
And then just a year later,
Yeah.
she stars in Blood Feud,
Oh, Blood Feud.
which I understand is quite a departure
Oh, yes.
from the quiet intensity
Of A Special Day.
of A Special Day.
Yeah. Completely different beast.
Okay.
Much more flamboyant, operatic film.
Okay.
Directed by the brilliant Lena Wertmüller,
Okay.
who's known for her bold and provocative style.
Wow.
Yeah. The film takes us to 1920s Sicily
Wow.
and throws us into this passionate love triangle set against the backdrop of rising fascism.
Wow. A lot going on.
A lot going on.
Yeah. Wow. So it sounds like Wertmüller really brought out a different side of Loren.
She did. Loren really embraces the film's melodrama with gusto.
I bet.
Her performance is full of fire and intensity.
I love it.
It's another example of her incredible versatility.
It's amazing how she's managed to have this long and successful career.
I know, it's really remarkable.
But she did become more selective with her roles later on, right?
She did.
Yeah, and one of her most recent performances was in a film directed by her own son, Edoardo Ponti.
Yes. In 2020, Loren starred in The Life Ahead,
Oh,
a beautiful and moving film directed by her son.
that must have been so special
I know.
for her.
Yeah, and she plays Madame Rosa, an aging Holocaust survivor,
Okay.
who develops this really heartwarming bond with a young Senegalese boy.
Oh, I love these kind of, feel-good stories.
Yeah, it's a beautiful film.
Yeah.
And her performance in The Life Ahead earned her a 7th David Di Donatello Award for Best Actress.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
That's incredible, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And in her acceptance speech, she talked about how she still felt the hunger to take on marvelous, beautiful stories.
Wow.
And that just speaks volumes about, her enduring passion for film
Mm.
and her desire to keep pushing herself as an artist.
Yeah, and I think that's so inspiring.
It is.
That, like, no matter how long you've been in the business or what you've accomplished,
Yeah.
you can still have that drive and that passion.
That's what keeps you going.
Yeah, and it's like, it's contagious even for the viewer.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it seems like we could talk about Sophia Loren for hours
We could
and still only scratch the surface of this incredible career.
barely scratch the surface.
But before we wrap up,
Yeah.
I'd love to hear your final thoughts on
Yeah.
her lasting legacy.
Okay.
What impact has she had on cinema?
Well, I think it's really multifaceted.
Okay.
She's one of the most recognizable and beloved actresses of all time,
Right.
and her beauty is undeniable.
Right.
But I think what truly sets her apart is her talent, her versatility, and her ability to portray the full spectrum of human emotions on screen.
It's like she has that classic Hollywood glamour, but then also just this incredible depth
Yeah.
and authenticity.
Yeah, and I think she's a real symbol of resilience.
Yeah.
Rising from humble beginnings
Right.
to become a global icon.
Yeah.
That's quite a story.
So what does this mean for our listener who's maybe just starting to explore Sophia Loren's films? Like,
Yeah.
what are the takeaways here?
This BFI list is fantastic,
Right.
but it's just a taste
Yeah.
of what's out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Her filmography is a treasure trove,
Oh, yeah.
waiting to be discovered.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to venture beyond.
I love how you said that, venture beyond these 10 films
Yeah.
and, like, find what catches your eye.
Yeah.
Because I think that's important.
It is.
With film, it's so subjective.
It is.
You know,
Absolutely.
what resonates with one person,
Totally.
not with another.
Yeah, you got to find those films that speak to you personally,
Right.
that ignite your imagination.
Yeah.
It could be a performance.
Yeah.
It could be a theme,
A visual.
a visual moment.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and don't limit yourself
Right.
to what you already know.
Right.
Explore
Try new things.
different genres,
Different directors.
different directors. Yeah,
You might discover a new favorite.
exactly.
Yeah.
Or a whole new cinematic movement
Yeah.
that you never knew existed.
The world of film is so vast.
It is.
And there's always something new to discover.
Always.
Oh, sad.
And each film you watch is an opportunity to learn something new
Yeah.
about the world, about human nature,
About yourself, even.
about yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautifully said.
Thank you.
So to our listener, we say this: embrace the journey.
Explore her films.
Let her remarkable career be your inspiration.
That's it.
And thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the essential films of Sophia Loren. We hope you've gained a deeper appreciation for her talent, her impact, and her enduring legacy.
Absolutely.
Until next time, happy watching.
Happy watching, everyone. Heart to.